Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. My name is Yevheniia. What was meant to be a historic occasion to broker peace between Ukraine and Russia instead sent global shockwaves. Now, Friday's meeting between President Zelenskyy and Donald Trump at the White House has left both Americans and Europeans outraged, though for very different reasons. And joining me now to discuss all of this is Yevheniia Kravchuk, Deputy Chair, Committee on Humanitarian and Information Policy in Ukraine. Good morning, Yevheniia. Thank you so much for being with us here this morning on World Talks here on TVP World. Let me ask you this, of course, first and foremost, from Ukraine's perspective, from your perspective. What is your take on this rift that unfolded on Friday? I mean, how do you react to particularly Trump's and JD's, the way they acted? And do you think that this was in any form a possibility of Trump possibly propagating the Russian narrative and Russian propaganda or not?
Well, first and foremost, Mr. Trump, President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were elected by American people, so American people should give their comments, and they did. I've been looking in the social media for many videos that Americans had recorded, and what comments they wrote on as a reaction on what happened on Friday. And honestly, I was a foreign exchange student in the United States. I have a host family that lives in Maryland, and I've got so many messages from my friends and family in the U.S. Saying that they disapprove about what happened. Disapprove from the what happened from the American side, but that's their comments, and they probably will not stop on expressing their views and ideas. And I ask myself, how would I react on the place of President Zelenskyy? And I'm just living with every other night with the Shaheeds flying around and experiencing the missile attack, and my daughter goes to basement to get a school, to learn in school, and President Zelenskyy gets the whole information. How many sabotage, how many killings, how many torturing Russia is doing to Ukrainian people. So probably, I would not be silent as well. And all the words that President Zelenskyy said, they were neither untruths or over exaggeration. He said actually what all Ukrainians think about Putin and his ability to keep to his promises, because the ceasefire doesn't change anything. I mean, the ceasefire that Putin wants is just the time to regroup, to mobilize more people, to build on more resources and come back.
Yevheniia, is Kiev going to do something to repair this relationship with Washington?
Well, first of all, we believe that the relationships are between countries, and there are a lot of people in the United States that are supporting Ukraine and do not want Putin to be rewarded. The latest sociology polls that I saw, that the more Republicans, bigger part of Republicans, they do not want to have friendly relationships with Putin. They understand who invaded what country, that Putin is an invader. So I'm sure we will have the continuation of the partnership between our countries. And Ukraine is still open to sign that deal. I mean, we did work on it for 2 weeks. It does look like economic partnership right now, not just a sort of a colonization. And of course, we're open to that. And you saw that today there were some meetings. There will be some meetings in London, and France and Great Britain are willing to work together with Ukraine on the plan that could suit all of the countries on European continent, because Russia is a threat not just to Ukraine but other countries on European continent, and to work on this plan with President Trump and American administration.
Yevheniia, you mentioned so many important factors there, but before I jump into the summit that's taking place in London today, you mentioned Putin a couple of times. How do you think Putin's reaction is to what took place on Friday? I mean, how did that situation, in your view, ultimately benefit Moscow?
Well, I think he's corking the champagne because basically, what are the allies around the globe, allies of United States around the globe, are thinking right now in the Pacific, in Asia or in allies in Europe? What do they think? I mean, will America stand with their partners, with us, in case they're trying to push Ukraine to capitulate? That's a big question, and that's actually what Putin is benefiting for. I mean, I was stuck basically when I saw, and I checked, it's not fake. I saw the Iranian Ayatollah tweeting in X saying that, oh, look, all of the partners of America should know that they will be treated the same way as Ukraine. It was his old tweet from the March of 2022, but now it looks even more, according to what we see. So basically, that's what Kremlin wants. He wants to disunite the partners, the Western partners, and to sort of give them an impression that America is in a total isolation. But I totally think that America first doesn't mean America alone or America allied with Russia. That's not what American people want. I'm sure that they don't want to be allies with Russia, and I'm sure that at the end of the day, Trump will never do that. I mean, he did send some impressions, or at least it could be read, that he wants to push to Ukraine basically to capitulate. But I mean, we didn't capitulate in 2022, in February 2022, when we actually didn't know whether we will have partnership from other countries at all.
Yevheniia, let's talk about this summit that's taking place today in London. Zelenskyy is there. What does Ukraine expect as a result of this summit? And we do know that Ukraine has just signed with Keir Starmer on a loan agreement worth 2.26 billion British pounds. What does Ukraine plan to do with this money?
Well, we'll spend it for the military expenses. That's actually the point, because Britain allowed us to use this part of the money for weapons, to buy weapons, to produce weapons, to pay our soldiers. And that's extremely important. At the end of the day, what we expect is Europe to think about its own security, understanding that it has to be more European responsibility on our continent. And basically, that's what we saw after the Munich Security Conference. I was at Munich Security Conference. I watched the speech of Vice President J.D. Vance. I saw the reaction of Europeans the next day, but the reaction is not enough. We have to do things. We have to pump up the military production. We have to think about the numbers of the soldiers that European countries can have, because I mean, it could be that America will pull out the troops out of the NATO countries in European continent. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it might happen, and we have to be ready for that.
Do you think that Europe has the capacity, both economically and militarily, to actually take on the burden of being able to support Ukraine on its own?
European economy altogether, and I'm just talking about the EU, and when you plus like Norway, Great Britain, it's even much more, is 15 times bigger than Russian economy. And of course, I mean, there are some bureaucratic rules that make this, ramping up the capacities longer. But I think Europe can deal with it and actually, be competitive, because that's about the competitives, both in military production, but also in technologies. I mean, Europe is far behind all of the technologies that are flourishing in the world.
Yevheniia, what about this mineral deal? I mean, it wasn't signed. How do you see that unfolding?
Well, we're still ready to sign it. I mean, we did invest a lot in these negotiations to make it more as a partnership. So basically, it's the deal about the investment fund that yet had to be created, and it's about any future fossils or minerals that will be discovered. So basically, it will be reinvested to Ukrainian economy. And I mean, to have ties between American economy and Ukrainian economy is, I think, important important because business of United States will also push to any government who is in power, saying that, look, what do you do for this country, Ukraine, not to be attacked again, and we're going to lose all our investments. But at the end of the day, we also put into this deal that this deal cannot be something that goes against our EU integration and all the other international deals that we've signed.
With everything that took place, on Friday, and in the wake of this fallout, what are Ukraine's next steps moving forward?
Well, first of all, it's uniting the partners in Europe, because it's not just about us, right? So the way this war ends will mean in what world we will live tomorrow, and our kids and grandkids, what they will inherit. The world with no rules, where the aggressor is rewarded, and there is this rule of a big nation that can do anything with a small nation. So basically, we're working on that right now, because as I said, the ceasefire without the security guarantees means that Putin will attack again, will conquer Ukraine at the end of the day if we are left without partners, and then with the stronger army, with all the resources, with everything he gets in Ukraine, he will attack Europe. That's for sure, because that's his ultimate goal, to divide the spheres of influence, and he thinks that at least half of Europe is his sphere of influence. So of course we will be uniting our partners, but of course we will be pumping up our own military production, and that's why this, if we get money in our own military production, it also helps to strengthen Ukraine.
Yevheniia, let me ask you just one final question. Do you think, Trump has said numerous times he can end this war. Do you think he could actually broker peace, or do you see that we're maybe headed in a different direction?
Well, what I would like to hear, and probably not just myself, is what concessions Russia is willing to do, because from all the official statements, Russia is not ready for any concessions, and moreover, they are insisting that Ukraine has to leave the city of Kherson and city of Zaporizhia, which are not occupied, because Russians put in their constitution in brackets that these regions are Russian in administrative borders, so with the territories that are not occupied. This is, something outraging and ridiculous totally. So we really would like to know what are the confessions that United States can push on Russia to them to make.
Thank you so much, Yevheniia Kravchuk, Deputy Chair, Committee on Humanitarian and Information Policy in Ukraine, for all your insights. Thanks for being with us. And that's all for this edition of World Talks. I'm Diana Skaya. Stay with us for more news and features from the region and the globe.